Morning. Today is Saturday. I know it's a day in a month, in a year. I don't know which. Does it matter? Does it matter whether it's January, February, or July? Oh my god. Anyway, hi, it's me, Sienda. If you are a new person watching, I am Sienda. I don't know what to add to that. I am a human being, I guess. Am I though? But are we? But am I you and are you me? Anyway, okay, so hi, I'm Sienda. I wanted to talk a little bit about being like creative during this COVID time and how I've been, because it's almost been a year now since we've had this like whole thing where we're like, for first we were like, wait, wait, for real? And then a week later we were like, wait, are you guys serious? And then we saw what happened in China and then we're like, oh shit. And then like eventually the rest of the world was like, oh, we're all gonna die, which is exciting. So basically, like, when this whole COVID thing started, I was like in my typical, like, doesn't matter. Still, you should still write 5,000 words a day. Never mind that I've never written 5,000 words a day, but I've always been a person who's like, no excuses. You have to do what you say you're gonna do. At least for myself. When it comes to like my friends and other people, for some reason, I'm capable of like incredible compassion. At least incredible to me, because like when it comes to me, I'm like, bitch, do you know that life is real? I don't know why I talk like that to myself when I try to talk to my friends like really thoughtfully and mindfully. But I guess that's just how we all are, you know. We're always like able to be like kind and understanding when it comes to our friends, but when it's us, we're just like, but you're a fool. But you're a fool. Why don't you do what you have to do? So that's a thing that's happening. What is even happening with this hair? Batu mamudimu. Hey, okay, let's just do that. But the first thing I had in my mind was like, okay, cool. This basically just means that I have like so much more time than I did before, because I was still like in school at the time and was like busy. So I was like, okay, with COVID, I don't have to like commute, I don't have to walk to class, I don't have to do this, and that. And so therefore, I'll have more time to write or to create or whatever it was, but mainly to write, because as you might know, like I write fiction and I'm working on a novel. So I was like, yeah, I'll have so much time to write. Even though it'll be like a monastic retreat or some like insanity. First of all, the first barrier to me writing every day during the COVID thing was like realizing that I was writing. I just remember this day just being like so devastated, because I was like writing a sentence or something like, this character did this. And then I was like, wait, but that doesn't exist anymore. Like there's no outside anymore. And I was writing this character like living life or whatever as I had recalled it. And I think it was during the time when they kept saying stuff like, there's gonna be a post-COVID world, it's gonna be so different, it's gonna change everything forever, we're never gonna like be together again. It was like very much like this like fatalistic thing where people were projecting like this incredible change into life forever. And for me it was like devastating, because I'm like so far away from my family and from everyone that I know. Like I can't travel back to Botswana. I cannot travel back to Southern Africa or Africa as a whole probably. But yeah, so when it first started, I was like, oh, like I guess I could write every day. But then I don't know, it just hit me. I tried to write this character who was like doing everything normal, and I just felt so sad, because I was like, does it even matter? Like if this book gets published in like 2 or 3 years, like in the future, will people even know what a cafe is or whatever it was? Like I really was at that like very like incredibly despair ring space, and then I couldn't write for a little while, because I was like, does this mean I have to write COVID stories? And I don't mind. I mean, they're interesting, but I just wasn't there yet of like trying to synthesize this into my creative thing. So I started to sew, and that's kind of been my thing in my life generally, and that's kind of why I even have this YouTube video channel, is because like I'm always like, okay, if I can't be creative with writing, which is like my core expression style, I have to learn something else. I have to switch to a different medium, I have to like switch to a different outlet. So there's been so many things I've tried in my life to like diversify, so to speak, my creative channels, if you will. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but I like it. So I've tried like making videos on YouTube, sewing. I was like once like super obsessed with writing stand-up comedy, so I wrote jokes for a little while. I still kind of do in a way. I think if you count the things I tweet, which are like incredibly surreal and bizarre, I guess, are jokes. The point is like it's been very like invigorating for me and refreshing to like try to pursue a different avenue of creating. So I started to sew, and I started learning how to sew. I want to say from YouTube, but that implies I follow instructions because I do not. And I would not recommend my methodology of sewing because it's me just being like wasting money and wasting material because I don't listen. I want to know myself. I want to learn myself. And then what ends up happening is like I make garbage, or I make something that's like almost nice, and then it's trash, and then I'm like devastated. So don't be like me. I'm a bad influence. I will lead you astray like a bad shepherd. For me, it's been, what was really interesting was like trying to like reverse engineer my own clothes that I already like. That was the thing that I enjoyed doing because it felt like I could trust the outcome a little bit more, and I could feel like an intuitive relationship with the things that I was making versus a pattern, which is just paper that you put down, which by the way, I have many of, but it just felt so abstract. Oddly enough, with the sewing, I think honestly the COVID thing, I needed something that was incredibly immersive and incredibly like obsessing. And for some reason, trying to teach myself how to sew through trial and error was what it was. So I didn't find myself using a lot of references or even like really Googling a lot, but just very much being like, how can I myself be in this like self-contained world where I try to make things. The other reason why I didn't want to use patterns, I'll make a whole other video about sewing because it has like a special thing in my heart, but was that I wanted to learn to make things that fit to my body. So yeah, that was one way that my creative life kind of continued in this like space of like great anxiety and confusion and fear. It was to make something new and to do something different. Gradually, as time has gone, I've been able to refocus on my writing, and I've been able to like continue to try my best to like wake up early and dedicate like an hour or two to like fiction. And that also has been difficult because again, like it does kind of feel sometimes like things are for nothing. But what I try to remember is like when I'm actually sitting down in front of the words and the screen, it doesn't feel like it's for nothing, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like anything than what it is, which is like the joy, like the dizzying joy of creating something, of making something where there was nothing before, which is like what makes us human, I think, is like this obsession we have with creation, or sub-creation as Eric Fromm calls it, because only God can create and then humans sub-create. Okay, that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other book. So it's been like quite the roller coaster of emotions and experiences. So I'm sorry I haven't been able to make videos every day. This has been like a helpful experience, but I also have to kind of remember that I'm in a global pandemic and I'm home alone all the time. And the thing that gives us energy as human beings is like being around people. And so there's like this entire channel of energy that's like gone. So there's a lot of like self-propelling and self-propulsion that has to happen, and self-motivating that has to happen, which isn't always something that comes easily. So I've had to just kind of accept that I wasn't able this week to make videos every single day because it was hard enough to like make anything any day. Yeah, so I think that's all I'm gonna say about this. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you have a good day, and goodbye. And I guess like I don't know how the notification thing works, because now that I'm like, so this week I was making them every day, So I think you probably want to have, if you care to continue to watch, like a notification or something that comes up when my specific videos are happening.
You should've waited for me. Your time is deceiving, causing me grief.